S2, which is the one that Corona is using, you have these available to you: high, medium, and low. And you can get up to 16-bit with before some floating point stuff starts happening. I don't know if I want to get into that on this show.
Okay, but the point being to make things more efficient, to use less resources.
Yeah, so you would probably err on the side of medium P, which is things like P underscore UV, P underscore position, which you see in that custom effects guide.
Okay. All right. Well, let's not derail too much on that, because it sounds like you would have to know a fair amount of background information in order to be able to determine which one you want to use. So.
Right. So.
Stephen?
Yes.
When you if you don't specify the precision, it just chooses one that is supported. Is that correct?
Not in the fragment shader. This what we're showing right now.
Oh.
It forces you to specify one.
I see.
In the vertex shader, it's already done for you, I believe.
Okay.
But no, they enforce it on you unless you define this, I believe. Or
okay.
There's something you can define, but you shouldn't do it. You should just always specify a precision.
Okay, so we talked about what a vertex, vertex was. So a vertex
is a demo of vertex shader. I would really love to see, because I haven't seen any yet.
Okay, well, I can try to do that towards the end if I get it, if I have some time.
Okay. Well, so then I'll give you this one last question, and you can go. So, what's the difference between the vertex shader and this, what you're calling a fragment shader? What is a fragment shader, I guess?
A fragment is a term that basically means pixel. It's every pixel in this rect gets this code applied to it.
Okay.
And see, every position in here, you get a certain amount of input for it. So if you're up in the upper left corner, you would get text chord x of 0. And if you're on the right, you get text chord x of 1. And all the values in between are as you would expect. They're 0.5, 0.25. And this, for the y, it's either 0, 1 or 1, 0. I think it goes from bottom to top. I can check that here too. We have types, vectors, matrices, various things that are useful especially in 3D graphics. You'll use a lot of these, but we'll probably stick to vectors in this example. Now, vector is just multiple floats. So a float is a number. A vec2 is 2 floats. Vec3 is 3. Vec4 is 4. So we get the texture coordinates as a vec2. And Corona is feeding us those. We can construct new vectors. Here we see we're passing a vec4 4 numbers. We can also construct it in ways like this, where we pass 2 numbers at once, followed by 1 number, followed by another number. And we can switch these around, like that. And what this does is it gives us the y value before the x value.
And so so I see that we've got an x and y value, and then we have something that has to do with time, and then we have a 1. So what are these 4 numbers doing for us?
Well, what these numbers are, what we're interpreting them as here is a color.
Okay.
So, and Corona color scale will apply the fill color to that color.
Okay, so we're going in and we're creating a color that we're going to return to Corona. Is that what we're doing? As a fill color?
This is returned to the frame buffer, basically. So for every pixel in this rect, this program gets called, and it returns the pixel for that given coordinate. And each of these pixels are isolated. They can't affect other pixels. And because of that, the hardware can make assumptions that these can't touch, so I can do several of them at once. And that's why this isn't, slow as a dog, because it's doing big squares all at once.
It's basically processing as many pixels as it's able to with the hardware simultaneously, right?
Yeah, it's massively parallel.
Just out of curiosity, if we were to modify the return value, so instead of passing it through the Corona color scale function, if we were just to return ret, R-E-T, would that essentially override the set fill color, basically? So if we were, not that we would, but if we did, at that point, would calling set fill color effectively do nothing?
Right. You would never pick it up.
Okay.
This is a way of interacting with the outside world with Corona.
It's interesting.
And I don't know offhand how strokes work, but they might be going through the same shader. I haven't had a chance to play around with that. But the other thing you see is that time is a factor. You can kind of see this thing glowing on the right side. So this is red, green, and then the blue. The blue is oscillating with time. We can comment stuff out like that. And right now it's broken, so it's showing nothing on the right side. But we can. This is occasionally useful for debugging, where you just show one number. So here the x coordinate goes from 0 to 1, right? And if you can think of a number that you have in terms of a value between 0 and 1, you can look at it as a color, because you can't do print statements, and I don't know of any good debuggers that are available for this that work with Corona. So you'll need some indirect solution like this.
So you're kind of reverse engineering it, saying, I expect to get this output, and if I do this, do I get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Stephen?
Yes.
The input to your fragment kernel, vec2 text coord, the range for those, just to be clear, is 0 to 1, correct?
Is
it 0 to 1 or is it -1 to 1?
0 to 1.
0 to 1.
Except if you have an image sheet, they won't be from 0 to 1. They'll be from somewhere in the middle to somewhere at the end.
Okay.
And there's some subtleties if you have a rect path that's distorted, because it goes through the perspective correction machinery of OpenGL. But for the most part, you'll always get a 0 to 1. And you can, if we put these together, well, okay, let's put a texture on this. If I actually sample it.
I just like that you can, with this playground, you can get in there and just make things happen, right? I mean, it's an even faster way to experiment with stuff.
It's very aggressive while you're typing, so it seems to be constantly recompiling to test for errors.
Aggressive. That's a.
And I found this makes it a little slow on certain machines, but I think they should wait until you stop typing for a second or two.